So when we last left our detective, Race had come down the elevator in the New York hotel. He'd been poking around trying to find out more about what had happened the night that David Templeton had died, a couple of evenings prior. A lot has come together over the last couple of days. We've learnt about former friends that now have turned rebels against the British government. We've learnt about British diplomats who are working to kidnap people. We've learnt about potentially a mole working in the rebellious organization. Oh, it's just going nuts. So basically, we had to go back to the hotel. We had to pick up, investigate and find out what actually happened that night. And we learned a little bit about Mark Colden's movements. If all this sounds random, please go back and watch a previous episode, because we left last episode on a cliffhanger. Our detective, David Race, came down the elevator. The doors opened. And what met him was a group of people waiting for him in the lobby. Lots of people are chasing him. The police are a little bit suspicious of him. The British government who are kidnapping people are suspicious of him. Ultimately, the bald-headed artist, Janet Mayhern, she's playing along with me at the moment, but she has no reason to trust me. She may be after me. It feels like all of New York, suffering from this weird sort of post-prohibition hangover, is now on David Race's heels. So that's what we were expecting. But as we came down to the lobby, as we looked at the doors, we rolled on the dice to see who it was, and the result was a mystery. It was someone that we hadn't seen yet. So what I've decided is that it's going to be someone that Race has encountered in a previous case. One that you actually haven't seen in this story, The Big Dry, actually a previous game I've played with David Race. So it's going to be a 50-50 as to which character it is from a previous game. What I have established also beforehand is whatever this threat is that David is encountering, it is an extreme one. It is an extreme threat. It is someone who's going to cause him some real grief, and getting away from these people is going to be extreme. It's going to be difficult. So that's the situation we're in. I'm imagining he comes down and he sees a group of people, a little posse basically. But at the head of the posse, who is there? In a previous game I've played, there are forces and powers out there that Race has already ticked off. He has pre-existing enemies. If it's an enemy, it'll be an odd number. However, he also does have some friends, but friends who are a little bit inconvenient right now, who them interfering might bring this whole investigation to a close. And so they're going to be even. So, is it an enemy or an enemy disguised with a friendly face? Here we go. Even. It's a frenemy. The doors ding. The elevator doors open, and what catches Race's eye is the group of individuals are actually wearing British uniform, like British police. Okay, here they are in New York, out of place because there's soldiers on American soil, so that's unusual. Straight away, Race, his mind jumps to, oh, these are the British Secret Service types who are kidnapping people. But all of a sudden, his stomach doesn't know what to do. It kind of drops, but also leaps with joy, but then drops again when he sees that the head of this party is none other than his brother. Johnny Race, suave, debonair, and making positive change in the sort of secret service of the British government, and occasional friend of Christie-esque detectives, scans the hotel lobby, and by sheer coincidence, he catches eyes with his younger brother, David. D-boy! There he is. David's big brother coming along to get him out of trouble again. But this is trouble he needs to see through. He cannot let his brother catch him. He has to escape. He has to get away. But this could help. Hello, my name is Evan. Welcome to The Big Dry. This is a solo RPG based on the rules of IronSworn. IronSworn by Sean Tompkins. Excellent game. Go have a look. It's for free to download. But we are doing a big twist on it. We're shifting it from its fantasy roots into a detective noir story, and it's really exciting. Because basically, even though I'm telling you this story, I don't know how it's going to end. A lot of this, we're finding clues off of random tables. We're interviewing people using sort of a combat system tweaked to be actually conversational. We're getting bits and pieces of information that at the outset don't look like they fit together. But based on context and based on our ability to sort of put these pieces together, we're trying to solve the murder of George Templeton. And in that way, this game actually makes you feel less like Watson and more like a real life TV detective solving an unbeatable case. We're getting close to the end. So if you're just jumping in now, by all means, you're welcome to. But I'd encourage you at least go back to the previous Notebook episode and move forwards from there to find out what's going on. As I said, David Race is trying to solve the murder of George Templeton, and he's got blood on his own hands. Okay, so him trying to solve this case is also a form of atonement for him at this stage of the game. But basically, let's get into it. Grab something you enjoy to enjoy, and we will move forwards. Here we go. So we're treating this scene a bit like a vow, where we're basically trying to lose track of Johnny Race, David Race's brother, and his little posse of military police. Why he's here, we don't know. How he knew that David was here, we don't know. But all we know is he's going to muck things. So we're trying to get away from him. It's an extreme situation. So when we progress, it's going to be progressing relatively slow. And made all the worse because we're going to have the advanced threat rules playing at the same time. So basically, any time that we don't make progress, we're going to see if the people chasing him, David, is close on his heels as well, trying to get him as we move along. Look, David has been here before. He's been in this elevator, this hotel for the last couple of days. He was actually technically leaving. He has all his luggage, but now that he sees all these people, he's just going to quickly put his luggage on like a little counter nearby, a little hotel bellhop cart, and he's going to move. He knows that Janet Mayhearn, the night of the murder, escaped through the back kitchens. Now, he's done a bit of poking around. He sort of knows that, he knows kind of where that is. She was able to get out because she was meant to be there. What David's going to do is going to hopefully act confident, just move through there. He knows this hotel. He knows kind of how to get out. He knows where the back door is, what side of the building it is. So he's going to use his wit, the fact that he knows his way through this place to try and sneak away from his brother. He's relying on the crowds of the people to sort of distract the military police as they come towards him, and he quietly disappears. So he's using his wit to do this. Oh, it's a 6. So it's his wit of 3 plus a 6 is 9 against an 8 and a 3. So it's a strong hit. Race is able to sort of move through the kitchen doors. He moves through the kitchen. There's cooking and steam going on. It's evening, so we're heading into the dinner hour. Things are in a flurry, but he's able to move through there relatively confidently because he is just by himself. Where his brother and his little friends, they have to get through the lobby. They have to get past all the patrons, and then they get to the kitchen, and pretty much straight away there is a bellhop there saying, "What are you doing? Please, not a bellhop, a maitre d' saying, stop. You're even guests here. Who are these military guys?" So they immediately get waylaid. It brings Race, he quickly goes through the kitchen to the exit that he was at a couple of days ago, talking to that random kitchen hand. And he's on the street now, and it is getting dark. There's a tiny bit of twilight on the horizon, but now it's dark, and he's beginning to look down the alleyway to figure where he's going to go. He is not going to go towards the main street, because that's where they are. But they're in the hotel lobby. So no, he is going to go towards the street. They're stuck with the maitre d'. So if he goes out there quickly, he might be able to find a way out of here. So he comes out on the street. He's going to try and have a look carefully. Not so much like sneaking around the corner, but just sort of looking like he's meant to be there. Have the hats. They got hats. He's doing sort of hats sort of on his head, like in the right sort of way to look and see if there's anyone out there. It's a bad hit. It's a miss. But I'm going to spend some momentum. It's a 3 against a 5 and an 8. But I've got myself 8 momentum, so I'm going to burn that. Leaving me with only 2 now to turn that into a weak hit. He comes out onto the street and he sort of hopes that there's going to be no one out there, but indeed when he looks, he sees that one of the military police officers is standing next to a vehicle that's parked out the front of the hotel, It looks military, British military. It's been parked there, so great. That's where they are. He was hoping that there would be no one out here, and there is someone. But the guy hasn't quite noticed him yet, so he turns and begins to just walk down the street with his back to him and just hope nothing comes of it. He's moving at a brisk pace, but trying not to be suspicious as he does. So again, moving suspiciously, so there's going to be shadow to our roll. It's another weak hit, and I think logically with our sort of progression, the consequence is as he's walking, he sort of like, as he walks past like a sort of a mirror shop, he sort of looks and sees in one of these mirrors that military police guy who was standing on the street. He sort of like looks, and he sort of looks. Again, there's just something about the way that the British dress. Remember that was a thing from before? And he sort of suspiciously begins to sort of look and begin to walk. Race doesn't see if he's coming by himself or if he's like signaled to anyone to sort of keep an eye on things. But he just begins to walk down the street, just sort of following him. Not chasing him, just following him still. But we're going to advance our threat track just one. So we're ahead of the threat just a little bit, but not much. So Race wants to lose this guy. The traffic is pretty busy next to him, sort of taxi cabs and sort of 1920 cars. So everything's really chugga-chugga, and there's a few horses here and there. It's going slow enough that he can sort of maybe weave through this. So we're going to take a risk. We're going to try and like weave through this traffic and maybe lose sight of him. So he sort of looks, and he makes it look like he's just jaywalking, but he's going to walk through the traffic. Oh, we're plussing edge to this, but it doesn't really matter. It's a 3 against an 8 and a 10. Oh no, that's not good. Oh, okay, so as well as our threat advancing to now being on us, this is what happens. Race steps out from behind an automobile. He's rushed this, and he gets collected. Not by a car, and nothing's moving too fast, but he gets a horse basically to the face, and down he goes onto the sidewalk. Again, the hit itself is not too bad, but as he comes down on the road, he does bang his head a little bit, and he gets that ping in his ear. There's a bit of like, oh, that's a bad hit, and he feels it. And just for a moment, he goes to get up, but he just can't quite get up, and he's just blurred, and he's like, oh, I can get up, and he hears a voice. Damn it, man, are you okay? This good Samaritan lifts him to his feet. Race turns and looks, and indeed it is the British police officer. He's literally got this British police officer guy holding him by the arm. As he looks at this guy's face, he looks at his face, and whatever it is, whether it's the resemblance to his brother, maybe he's seen a picture of him before, but he can see in this British military police officer's face, recognition. So what's Race gonna do? Okay, so it's cold, all right? So it's cold and the pavement's a bit slippery. Part of the reason why maybe Race fell so hard was because he hit and then he slipped and then he fell and hit himself. So what Race is going to do is he's going to be a complete jerk to this guy. He's going to try and quickly do two things at once. He's going to just give this guy a bit of a slap. Not a punch, he's not going for physical force, he's just trying to like discombobulate this guy. And then just slap and then kick his feet and hope that he gets a bit of a slip and this guy just goes down. So a bit of like street kung fu. Sort of, not really. So we're going edge on this, so it's a +2. Oh, 2. Oh no, it's okay. So it's a 7 versus a 6 and a 9. It is a weak hit. So it works. He does the slap, the guy's confused, he kicks him, he goes down, and then there's just like, as he hits the ground, this guy, there's this sort of like grunt. He hasn't been knocked out, but there's something about the way that he, it just sounds way too relatable. And Race is sitting there going, I just did that on like impulse. Oh, I feel bad right now. So it's actually, he's realizing, okay, now he's probably ticked off these guys, he's in danger, and for a moment the fear grips him. So we're going to say he takes a bit of stress on that. Oh gee. So he's going to turn now, he needs to basically run. He needs to run. I think we're going to say at this stage it makes sense. Oh, does it make sense? 50-50, has this been noticed by anyone? We'll start with just 50-50. Oh no, it's going to be likely that he's being spotted. Yeah, he's been only just, but he's been spotted. But has he been spotted by either the British police or the American police? It is lower, so it's the British police. So as he does this, he looks and sees that a small group has come out, and there's Johnny at the head of it. Just watched his brother deck a British police officer. Oh dear. So understandably now, David just absolutely books it. Once again, he's just going to run through the traffic. He's just had one baddie situation. Okay, he's going to secure it. Let's secure an advantage first, shall we? He looks before he crosses. We'll take the advice that I always give to my kids. It's a strong hit. It's a strong hit, which is great. Oh, even though I really need the momentum, I'm just going to add one extra to this next roll. So he looks, he sees where the traffic roughly is. He's going to now just run through it using edge plus the secure advantage, so it's +3. We're doing a 8 against a 9 and a 7, so it's a weak hit. He moves through the traffic. He actually basically bumps into a little bit into a car on the way through, getting a little bit of a knock on his elbow, which hurts. He's not like bleeding, but my goodness, like that knock, his arm is like, oh, what was that? That's gonna really hurt in the morning. So he gets a little bit hurt with that little knock as he gets across the other side of the street. He looks back, he sees basically the Brits are on the other side, still coming with his brother leading the charge. Where's he gonna go? Does he see a mode of transportation that he can make use of, okay? So he's gonna use his wits, that's +3 to a 6, but it's against a 9. So it's a weak hit. He does indeed he sees a horse, okay? He was kind of hoping for like an open-top car, maybe a motorbike, on these new fandangled motorbikes. But he sees a horse and he knows how to ride the horse. The only problem is there is indeed a mounted police officer, dismounted at this stage, next to the horse talking to someone about something. So he's dealing with like a traffic stop, but with a police officer just there. So David Race is desperate. He's already got the British police right on him. If he just can lose everybody, and a horse could work through traffic, you know what I mean? So he's going to try and steal the horse right off of the police officer. So he's going to try and like one smooth movement, this thing, come up to the horse, up on the stirrup, get on, and and away. So we're going to say this is edge, so it's +2. Oh, actually not too bad. It's a weak hit. The horse though begins to sort of bark, and he gets on the horse. He even gets the reins of the horse, so he's got control of the horse. The police officer turns and sees him do this, and at first he goes, but the horse begins to like rear and back up a bit. The police officer's kind of sitting back, but this horse, it's a mounted police horse. I'm assuming they're trained to not let people just jump on their backs randomly. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that David is going to try to sort of calm this thing and ride it. Race is ex-military, okay? So that's something that's pre-existed in this story. He is ex-military, so we're going to, World War I specifically, and more of that sort of officer class, like his brother was. So he has some experience with horses. He knows what he's doing, plus wit. Okay, it's not too bad. Well, it's not too good either. It is a weak hit. It's a weak hit on this. So the horse bucks a bit, but he does get control of it. But just as he does, this police officer gets hold of the reins, so he's holding on to there. So we're going to say he loses some momentum here, which brings us to momentum 0. We are in the danger zone. Okay, so the police officer is just there. It's grabbed the reins. My gut response was first just to kick him in the head, but Race is quicker than that. He realizes he can lie to this guy. So he says, "I need help, Barney. She's in trouble." So he's just shouting that at her. He's lying, of course. And maybe this guy doesn't know Police Officer Barney, friend from previously before, but we'll see. So let's roll the dice with Shadow being +2 it. Oh, it's good. It is a strong hit. It is a strong hit. We're making some progress. So with a bit of momentum now on our side, the police officers recognize the name Barney, but before we can ask any questions, Race just this thing, and he just starts riding off through the traffic on his horse. So off he rides through the streets. He's going to be basically weaving in and out of traffic, basically. Let's have a look at how successful this is. Again, we're going to say edge. I know this is the horse riding, but he's the one controlling it. He's looking around. He's trying to keep all these plates spinning. So he's going to be using edge. as he moves through the traffic, trying to get away from the hotel and the British police and his brother as fast as he can. Let's see if this works. It's a weak hit, so it does work, but I think it's going to be reasonable enough to say that as he's riding and moving through traffic, the traffic is actually, it was briefly going slow when he was like crossing the street, but now something has changed up ahead and everything is beginning to move, okay? So the traffic is beginning to move, and as he turns back to look, he sees that there is one or two cars following. They look like the British police cars that he saw out the front, that the guy that he knocked flat. They're following him. He sees that he's being followed. So the threat is going to progress, but he's doing all right. He's got a bit of distance still. It makes sense that he's going to potentially encounter an intersection eventually. It is New York City after all. So we're going to say it's likely that he's about to come across an intersection. Is it a busy intersection, or can you negotiate it pretty easily? Look, we're getting toward dinner hour. People are coming back and forth from work. It is likely that the intersection is busy. Is it? Yeah, oh yes, it's very busy. 98. So it's a busy intersection that he's now approaching. Okay, so he's got on his horse. He's trying to get away as fast as he can. He's gonna take a risk. I think I got a bit of an idea of where he could go in order to find safety. Maybe lay low for a bit. And we're gonna say in order to get there, he's gonna have to negotiate through an intersection. And it's gonna be through. Okay, just for the sake of argument, he's gonna go through this busy intersection. Oh my goodness. So he's got control of this horse. Oh, he's got control of this horse. Really, it's a case of, can he hold his nerve and hold his confidence as he now just dives through traffic. Okay, so that's what he's facing. Again, it's not modern traffic. It is a bit slower, but nonetheless, this is a very stupid thing to do. Can he hold his nerve, and can he be calm enough to keep the horse calm as they do this? Hard. It's gonna be hard. Oh, this horse is gonna die. Okay, so it is a weak hit. So Race gets through halfway through the intersection. The horse at first is kind of like just too shocked that with the lights going past and not freak out. But it keeps going until they get halfway through the intersection. A specific automobile comes past with a honk, and the horse does rear. He's in the middle of the intersection with these cars going back and forwards, but he manages to get control of this horse and just at the right time pushes through, and he gets to the other side of the intersection without everything going so incredibly badly, can I say. But that loses him a bit of time, so he's progressing. But so the enemy, we're going to say that they're coming forward as well. I haven't been rolling that right. I just realized I've not been using the threat advanced rolls at all correctly. Just so you know, the threat is basically 2 behind at this stage. What we'll do though is we'll roll and we'll see if it advances by 1 or by 2. Okay, so it advances by just 1 at this stage. So the threat is sitting at 2. We're 2 ahead of the threat. As we get to the other side of the intersection, he sees that basically his brother's car is at the front of the intersection waiting for these things, the traffic to stop, and then he'll be coming straight through afterwards. Okay, so he's now galloping along as fast as he can. A dude on a horse is pretty obvious. Have the police spotted this reckless behavior? And are they now sort of keeping an eye on him? It's not certain, but it's likely. Yep, police have noticed. Maybe there was even a traffic director in the middle of the intersection who saw this. He's like, what the heck? And as he's called out, another mounted police officer, let's say, has spotted, and he has also come in, and he's moving in, and he's joining the pursuit. Okay, so Ray takes another risk, and he's just going to basically dive across traffic. He's going to dive across traffic. He's got in his sights, there's a bit of like an alleyway on the other side, and maybe he can make use of that. So he's going to dive across the street and hopefully, again, not kill himself or the horse. We're going to secure advantage. Because the horse is over there, he's got a little bit of time in order to have a look. Oh, but it doesn't look good. As he looks across the street, he actually sees there's road work. There's actually road work blocking that alleyway that he thought that he could make use of. Oh, but this still could work. So he's going to dive across the street. with this horse, because he's changing direction. Again, he is trying to hold his nerve as he goes across the incoming traffic, but now he's just sort of holding his nerve. He's trying to control this horse. So we're going to say a little bit of edge on this as he's sort of like watching and moving. So +2, does he get across the street to this road, this road work thing there? He does, but it's a weak hit. So we're going to say, as he gets across, the horse is freaking out. So, but so it's actually going slower. It's just going slower than it should. And the lights have gone. So not only is that police officer the police officer is basically on him. Let's just say that the police officer is basically on him. We'll include the police officer in this threat track situation. Basically, the threat is anyone chasing him at this stage. And the threat does indeed progress a little bit more. So they're just on our heels. Ugh. So he gets to the other side of the roadwork. Like I said, it stretches out in front of where he wanted to go. We're going to have a look. Is it are they putting in like a drain pipe? That's what it looks like. Some sort of drain pipe thing. So there's possibly just a big trench running along the ground. So we're just going to say it's 50-50. Yeah, it is. So it's this big trench that actually stretches a fair way down the block. So what David's plan is he's going to try and jump off the horse into the trench and basically book it down through that trench, because at the moment no one's in it. It's like evening, so all the workers would have gone home and there's no people traffic to block him. So this could actually be a really good way of getting a bit of distance on foot. But like I said, the police officer's on him. So pretty much this police officer, he's also braved the traffic. He's got a bit more control of the horse than David did of this random stranger's horse. So basically he's gotten in there and he's grabbed the bridle. He's grabbed the bridle of the horse in order to sort of stop it. So we don't need to punch the police officer because he's got the bridle of the horse to stop him, because he thinks that he'll just stop him doing that. But if we quickly jump off the horse and jump down into this trench, we actually might get a bit of headway on him, because he's dealing now with two horses basically. So does that work? Edge. It does. Oh, it's a weak hit. It's a weak hit. So indeed, he's able to jump down. David's able to jump off of the horse, basically in one movement down into the trench. But it does indeed go down further than he thought. And as he lands on his ankles, he just doesn't land it right. It jars. Oh, that hurt. That's bad. We're now down to 3. And it's the pain is excruciating. So his running is not going to be as good as he thought it would be. But so it's not looking good. So he starts to limp. He starts to limp down this trench. He's going as fast as he can in order to get away. Does this little gambit work? So it's edge once again. Is he able to get a bit of distance from both the police officer, but also remember he's keeping half an eye out for his brother and the military police. Oh, again, it is another weak hit. And we're going to say that at this stage, as he's sort of limping through here, the police officer is kind of half stopped, but maybe he is starting to signal for more police officers to come in. Maybe news is starting to spread that Race has deliberately actually used the word Bartney. So maybe, we're going to keep this in the back of our mind, Bartney could now be hearing that her name is being used in vain, and who could be doing that but other than that temporary former partner of hers. So we'll keep that in the back of our mind. But we're going to say that it's the brother that's pulled up next to. Now, how much does the threat progress? It just progresses by 1. It's pretty much holding steady just at our heels. Basically, the car actually pulls alongside and is able to pull alongside pretty well. The traffic's flowing in this part by chance. And the window comes down and it's Johnny's head that sticks out. D! What the hell are you doing, man? Oh, brother, just seeing the sights. What, in a hole? Well, you know what they say. You can only be up from here. And as he says that, he does indeed sort of spring out of the trench onto the other side where the traffic is. We're going to say he's able to get up there relatively swiftly, but the question is going to be, does he spot another way of getting away from his brother? I'm hoping like an alleyway or something like that. So we're going to firstly gather information. So it's a weak hit. Okay, so I'm thinking that he comes out of the trench, he basically rolls and manages to get his head slowly. And he sees basically right in front of him there is indeed an alleyway, a rather convenient alleyway that would lead away from the street and where his brother is. What is inconvenient is that standing right there are two beat cops, just walking down the street basically, and they see this guy roll out. They're a bit shocked by it. What's even more inconvenient is Johnny then calls out, "Stop that man!" The police, of course, they don't know who this is, they don't know what's going on, but this is suspicious. They're going to get involved. David just runs. He's just going to run down this alleyway as fast as he can, and hopefully if he gets a bit of a sprint on these guys, they won't catch him. He's limping, but again, hopefully they'll be confused. So let's just run and see what happens. It's good. It's a strong hit. So the police officers, let's just say, they say, "Oh, we don't work for you." So they actually begin to argue with Johnny. And as he runs, the police officer only kind of half looks and he's like, "Oh, well, maybe I will, maybe I won't chase you." So with that stroke of luck, and at this stage, in case you're playing at home, he's managed to get seven progression to get away from his brother. And he's got the threat sitting 2 behind him. So it's going okay at this stage. Police officer arguing. David's got a bit of breathing room to figure out what he wants to do. Okay, with David's ability to just stop for a moment and think, because he's got that bit, he's now like halfway down the alley from where the police officers are. He's got to play this clever. There's a bigger game afoot right now. He's not just trying to run away from his brother, he's trying to solve this mystery. And he thinks, in the heat of the moment, with the pain throbbing, with the adrenaline burning through his head, oddly enough, a question begins to echo in his mind louder than it has been over the last couple of days. He has a question that he wants answered. There's only one person that can answer that. But he can't ask that question unless the situation is right. So what he's going to do, go with me in this, he's going to actually stop and he's going to hide a little bit. He looks around and he sees a fire escape. We've had lots of fire escapes in this story, so let's assume there is a fire escape. And he's going to try and hide a little bit and watch and hope that his brother keeps chasing him, but he'll be in a situation where he can control the chase now. He's trying to turn it on its head, have the hunter be the hunted, that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to do. He's going to shadow and hide a little bit in some bins, try and see what happens next. Oh, that was a mistake. So basically, it's +2, so it's a 6 against a 7 and a 10. So it is a weak hit. It is not a weak hit, it's a miss. It's a miss. How much does the threat track follow on us? 50. So it's only 1, but it is bad. It's basically he's now only 1 step ahead of these guys. He was hoping that maybe only his brother would keep coming, that maybe an altercation with the 2 police having a go at each other. But instead, he's actually seen that, sure enough, his brother he's always in control with these things. He's now coming down the alleyway with not just the British police, but now the actual American police are with him as well. Damn it. But you got to take these risks. So what David now does is he actually steps out in the alleyway. He feigns shock, but actually he kind of wants them to see him. And indeed, his brother's like, "David!" At this, David leaps onto a fire escape and begins to try and climb. He's going to go up this fire escape. He wants to go all the way up to the roof. So with some edge, it's good. It's actually a strong hit. It's a 5 against a 3 and a 2. So he actually manages to go up this fire escape. They've seen him. They're still following him, but he's got plenty of distance on these guys. They're not shooting or anything like that. So it's good on that front. He's got these guys following him. So he gets up on the roof now. Okay, so he's on top of the building. He's gotten he's got a bit of distance on them, not much, but a little bit. But he's got to take this risk. Okay, so he draws from his pocket a little notebook. Okay, something that he would take some notes in occasionally. And what he does is he writes a message for his brother. Okay, he writes a message for his brother. He not only does he write a message for his brother in the last page, but he then puts his pen on that page. He shuts the book, and he's gonna leave the book there. He's gonna hope that his brother spots this when he comes up the staircase, because this might help. So we're going to roll a secure advantage, but this secure advantage we're gonna hold. So it's wit. Oh, good. Okay, this should work. He knows his brother. This should work. We're going to secure advantage, but we're actually going to hold on to that advantage. We're going to keep a hold of that bonus roll. It's going to specifically relate to something later, but hopefully that's going to help out. So we might make a note of that. But with that little bit of time lost, he now just needs to book it. So he's going to run across to the other side of the building, and he does that, and he's going to have a look and see if he can gather some information and see if there's a way down. Oh, but it's not good. Oh, it's not good. Oh, it's not good. It's a double 8. It's a double 8. Oh no. So what happens? He gets to the other side and he looks down, and all he can see is that hiding man falling from his grasp. He's watching his face falling like it did the previous day. The flashbacks are too much, and he almost just on the spot vomits. He has that recollection, that memory of a couple of days previously where he killed a man accidentally, but he killed a man because of his reckless behavior from a height like that, and that's all that fires through his mind. We're going to say that he takes a little bit of stress with that, and we are also going to advance the threat. It is fortunately only advancing by 1. So as he's standing there, he then hears a voice from behind him, like pretty close behind him. David, are you all right, man? David doesn't turn around. He hears him, and there's something reassuring in his brother's voice, but he knows he can't stop yet. With just folly and abandon, David doesn't even look to see if there's a fire escape. He more or less just sort of leans towards the edge, and his goal is to more or less just drop down on that ledge, catch it, and maybe just fall onto one of these windowsills, like near, just underneath him. That's what he's doing. This could be really stupid right now. So, edge. So edge is added to this. Oh, it is. With the +2 edge, a 4 against a 4 and another 4. Remember these? Remember these? These are the fudge tokens. Basically, each of these fudge tokens represents me fudging the game. They also represent $2 going to charity. Okay, $2 are going to charity because of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to fudge it. I'm up to $6 so far. Let's make that $8 going to the Cancer Council, a wonderful cause. But let's fudge this thing. Race attempts to grab onto the windowsill, but of course he just doesn't. He slips and he falls. This is the worst ever. David on the roof, he's just goes like pale ashen as he watches his brother just begin to fall to his death. So he rushes over to see, but what he sees is as David falls, he again by pure accident falls onto some power lines, some sort of dodgily installed power lines. And as he goes on it, you think that like he might get electrocuted, but because he's not touching anything as he falls through the air, it doesn't zap him, but he does break one of the ends, which causes him to then swing. And he sort of swings, he then crashes through. That swing actually brings him down into one of the apartment buildings. And by chance, he does indeed smash through a window, crashing into the room. This whole process hurts. He has already accumulated, he's been hit by a horse, he has jarred his legs, but now he has really hurt himself pretty badly. We're down to one last health token, so this could be it. But basically, we're going to say that was a weak hit, with some major costs, including the injury. But he is down in this apartment building. Okay. So David's going to take this opportunity. His brother's on the roof. They've seen him crash through the window. They don't quite know what apartment he's in. So what he's going to do is he's actually going to, now he's in an apartment building, he's going to try and hide. Are there people in here? No, there's no one in here by sheer chance. They're out at dinner. So what he's going to do is he's going to try and hide. Not in here, but he's going to sort of open the door here and look to see if he can find like a janitor's cupboard that he might be able to hide in. He's being very careful not to bleed everywhere, basically. At this stage, he has got some injuries, but if he's able to sort of sneak and hide in a cupboard somewhere, then maybe they'll assume that he has run out of the building rather than just hide and lay low for a moment. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and end this chase, finish this fight, as it were. So at the moment, we're sitting at 8. 8 on our progress track. We're going to try and fulfill this vow, the vow being escape your brother. He's going to hide in a janitor's cupboard and hopefully that works. So we're trying to get less than 8. Let's see if this works. So David dives into a janitor's cupboard. He shuts the door and soon he indeed hears footprints come barreling down some staircases down the hallway. He hears voices. Where could he be? Where could he be? This is the apartment. This will be it. And he hears doors open and closed. He hears one or two. Oh, so sorry. Has anyone come through here? Know what you're talking about? I heard a bang. So lots of like activity happening out the hallway as they're talking to people in different apartment buildings. Here it is. Here it is. They found the apartment, the broken glass, and people are running back and forth. You can hear that outside. Where is he? Where is he? They don't know where. But all David can see is this little janitor's closet, which is pretty much pitch black. Maybe there's a mop there that's vaguely in eyes shot, but you can hear a lot of activity outside. But slowly the activity begins to die away, and it's like they're moving on back down to the staircase, and this it's stopped. It's quiet. Cool. David, after a few more moments, slowly opens the door, a little crack, and looks out and sees that there's no one around down that way of the hallway. He opens the door. There's not really anyone around that he can see. He steps out and closes the door. And as he closes the door, he hears a voice. David, what the hell is going on? David starts, turns around and sees that basically standing behind the door is his brother. He doesn't know how, and he doesn't know why he waited, but his brother knew where he was. There's no one else there. There's no other military police. And so he starts and turns and sees his brother. God, man, what? Look at you. You're a wreck. Come here. No. I've got something to do. Something to do? What are you talking about? You're wrangled up with what's his name? Instow. Instow of all people. We all know he's shady. How did you get involved with him? And they're saying that you killed someone. Is that true? Indirectly. Yes. God, man. What have you done? You need to come with me right now. If you truly think that, then why aren't the rest of your military police friends here? Just to carry me away. David, let's not do this now. No, let's do this now. Because lives are at stake. Lives of diplomats, of innocent little people, lives that our government is putting at risk. And this very soul of your brother hangs in the balance. So, Johnny, why haven't you taken me in? Because you're a fool, David. A complete and utter moron. But with a heart of gold. I know that you're capable of doing very stupid things, but never without cause. Even the right cause at times. So if you trust me, brother, trust me now. Do you have my notebook? Does he have his notebook? Yes, I found that. What of it? Oh, please read it. And then find me. You'll find an address in there. I need your help. To bring this to an end, I need your help. You might be good, David, but you could also be wrong. You have been in the past. Look, let me go to that address first and then find me. Help me. If I'm right, then more than just Templeton's death will be resolved. Much more than that. More important things will be put right. If I'm wrong, you know your duty, and I will not stop you from following it. Look, I tell you what, David. I'll read this, and then I will find you. You have until then to do whatever you need to do. I'll help as I can, but if this is a wild goose chase, I won't be able to protect you this time. Is that understood? I understand, you patronize... No, you don't. It's not just the ire of our government, it's the ire of the Americans. This could go very badly for you. I'm giving you one chance, but if it doesn't come off, I prefer not to think what would happen. I understand. And thank you. David limps away down the staircase out onto the street. He can't see the police officers. He's going to keep his head low still, but you can't see them around. And he limps off. He finds a cafe somewhere that he can sit in a booth out of the way and try and patch up some of his injuries. He's really hurting pretty badly. He makes do with what he has, but the Dunn is no place for recovering like that. But he manages to get himself together and he begins to leave the diner. He pays and he limps away down the street and he heads towards the docks. He has some very important questions and he thinks the only person who can now help him potentially solve this case is the one person in all of New York City who's not chasing him. Captain Darcy. Can he bring this all to a close? And that's it for now. My goodness, we very nearly killed our protagonist. We were down to 1 health point there, so that could have been very bad. I don't know what I would have done if we killed our detective before the crime was solved. But, yeah, we're going to call it a night. We're going to have, I think, 2 more episodes of this. One of them is going to be a notebook episode. I think we're getting to the point where we can call this case coming to a close. We're getting to the point soon where I think we're gonna try and solve this. We'll have a denouement episode at the very end, where it's going to be my job to sort of piece all the clues together and actually solve what's happening. But before that, we're going to do another notebook episode where we're going to go through what clues I have in my notebook that I will be piecing together and give you guys an opportunity to put in the comments. What do you think's happening? Who done it? Why did they do it? How did they do it? So you can put those comments in the chat. You can put in the chat here if you wish, but also on that notebook episode when we go over everything clearly. We can discuss what we think happened. I'm probably going to ignore that chat because I kind of want to sort of have a clear idea in my own head what I think's happening. But that's a good place to do it in the lead up, and after we solve this case I might even have a bit of a look at that. We can have a chat about other theories that people had, depending on whether or not I solve it or not. Maybe you're right, maybe it turns out that you had a way better idea than I did. But that's for future episodes. So thanks again for watching. I hope you see me again later, and we're close. Good night.